All right, welcome to Hansen Speed Shop for our first build off, the budget gasser build off. Before we get started here today, I'd just like to thank everybody who's participating in this build off. You guys are awesome. All the builders in the build off are listed in the description below. Go check out all their videos. We'll be posting another video, kind of a results video, in probably a day or so, and then I'm going to be sending a care package to my favorite car of the build off that met all the rules of the build off and that I thought was the coolest. You're going to get a super cool care package shipped to you for free by me, so that's going to be super cool. This build off was meant to show that you don't have to spend a ton of money to build a cool car, and I wanted to showcase the creativity and talent of you guys. And basically, you know, anybody can spend a ton of money and turn out a super cool build. So let's see what you can do with $5. Now, for my build, I had about 5 cars in mind, and I decided to pick the hardest one to do, which is this Hot Wheels T-Bucket. And I'm going to be doing mine as kind of a late 50s style gasser, basically like circa 1959. We're going to be starting with this car, which I actually found at a thrift store for 25 cents about a year ago. Now, these cars are a pretty common casting, and it's not a super desirable casting. They made a lot of different variations of this car in the 90s. So I don't think it would be too hard to pick one up at a flea market or swap meet, thrift store, garage sale, whatever, for 25, 50 cents. This one's actually in pretty good shape, but I paid 25 cents for it. I don't think you'd have to pay more than $1 really to get one of these. But the idea for this is going to be this big ridiculous engine's going to go, these side pipes are going to go, and then I'm actually planning on shortening the front of the car up because it's like ridiculously long. We're going to be doing a wheel swap on here, and obviously we're going to run the front up a little bit. I'm planning on just retaining this paint job. Again, we're doing this on a strict budget. Probably going to detail out the interior, but we're going to need some more stuff to go along with this. So I have budgeted my whole build out. We're going to be using a 32 Ford that I've also found at a thrift store. I'll show you that in just a second. That I also paid 25 cents for. We're also going to need like a Hot Wheels, maybe 55 Chevy gasser or a Nova wagon gasser for some donation of parts. That's going to be 94 cents. Then we're going to need another donor car for wheels. That's going to be 94 cents. And then for our detailing paint, I'll just show you a quick example here. We're just going to be using this craft paint. You can pick this stuff up for like 50 cents a bottle at Walmart. So normally I like to use at least like this tester's paint, but this is pretty expensive. Those are going to work out just fine. Only going to need about 3 colors, so that's going to be about $1.50. And then I'm going to need a little bit of aluminum tubing, about 25 cents worth, bringing my grand total to $4.13, leaving me with money to spare. So basically, here's the car to start with. This is not going to be easy because, as you can see, there's a lot of ridiculous, just ugliness to get rid of on this car. But I think by the end of the video, we should have something super cool. I can't wait to see what you guys have. And I'll get this thing torn apart, and we'll go from there. Alright, guys, so just before we go any farther, I just want to show you, this is the 32 Ford that I found for 25 cents. Now, if you're like, Jesse, where am I supposed to get one of these for 25 cents? Well, these are an incredibly common casting. They've made just hundreds of thousands of these over the last 20-some years since this casting has come out. And in fact, if you're super desperate, I guarantee there's probably a new variation of it hanging up in one of your local stores for like 94 cents. But if you really look hard enough, I'm almost 100% positive that you'll be able to find one of these at a thrift store, flea market, swap meet, garage sale for like 25 to 50 cents. No problem. So we're going to be using this. Basically, the only thing that I'm actually probably going to use off of this car is just going to be the grill. And then we're going to need a car to donate our engine. So I'm going to use this. I paid 94 cents for it. That's going to provide our engine and our headers. And then we're going to need one more car for our wheels. So I'll pick out a casting. Probably going to be going with like this style wheel in the back, just to kind of keep this with that traditional 50 style look, because most of the cars in the 50s weren't running super wide tires in the back, and a lot of guys were running white walls in the back. Once you get to the 60s, nobody was really running white walls anymore on drag cars. So I want to keep this thing kind of period looking and do it on a budget. If I were able to, if this was an unlimited budget build, I'd have a lot better wheel and tire choices than what I'm going with. But again, we're doing this on the budget. So we'll get everything torn apart now, kind of lay out what I'm going to be doing, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we got the car all torn apart now. We can kind of take a look at what we all have to work with. So this was the original engine off the car and the original radiator and headlights and everything. Not planning on using that at all. Here's a look at the chassis of this thing. What I'm planning on doing with this is we're going to cut these side pipes off and then just try to clean this chassis up as much as possible. We're going to get rid of these wheels. These bumps that stick down on the rear axle, those are going to get shaved off also. And then we're actually going to shorten the front of this frame up, so the wheels will actually be kind of about where the front of the header is right here. On the body, I'm actually kind of, now that I'm looking at it, I might just cut this whole front part off, and because we just basically need the frame to make this kind of more realistic. Here's the engine off of our 32 Ford. We're not going to be using this engine. It's a blown Hemi, which would be cool, but for a 50s style hot rod, most cars in the 50s, like 99% of them, did not run a blower on top of the engine because blower belts were kind of hard to get, and that technology wasn't really there yet in the 50s. So if anybody was running a supercharger, it was ran in front of the engine, a crank-driven blower that would have been in front of the engine. We're just going to go with this injected style engine from this 64 Nova wagon, so we'll have to cut that out. It's already got nice gasser headers on it and everything. And then here's our wheels that we're going to be using. These ones up front, and then these ones out back. We'll have to make custom front and rear axles. And then once we get to that point, I'm also planning on making some custom wishbones for the front, and possibly like some ladder bars for the rear. And then I'd also like to make a little custom roll bar for on the body. Also, to make this look a little bit nicer, this windshield's a little tall, so I think I'm going to trim that down and just have a little bit lower windshield. I think that'll look a lot nicer. That's kind of where we're at right now. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of cutting and grinding. So that's going to be kind of the next step, is to get this engine extracted out of here. Only thing that we are going to be using on this is the grill, 32 Ford grill. And then get this chassis cut up and shaped up like how we want it. So that's where we're at. That's where we're headed. And we'll take another look at it once I get the chassis a little bit more trimmed up and you kind of see what I'm talking about. Alright, gang, so we made quite a bit of progress on our T-bucket. And as you can see, it's starting to look really cool. Basically what we did is I cut the side pipes off. I cut the whole front of the body off, and then I started to shape the front of the frame rails after I cut the front axle off to basically look more like a stock front frame rail. Cut the engine out of that Nova wagon gasser. Still gonna have to do a little bit of work on this just to kind of finish the bottom up of the engine. Probably gonna have to fill that in with some epoxy or something, and then this will just need to get detailed. We cut the front of the body off, as you can see. That came out really nice. I still might shorten this windshield yet. And then I've been playing around. I was originally going to run these style wheels on the back, but they looked a little bit too small. They just don't have the right height. I would have been totally okay with this width in the back, but the height they look too dinky. So we might go with these little bit slightly wider ones in the back. These are probably going to be, like I said, the wheels we run up front. If not, these ones are all chrome version. We got the grill cut out of our 32 Ford. And then I notched the front of the frame. And then this should, a little bit of work, we should be able to get this in here. But here is the look at our frame. Clean the sides up really nice. Here's a look at the bottom view of it. And then I cut the back axle off completely because we're going to make a custom one to get the width right. So basically, that's where we're at right now. What we have left to do is, with the body, basically I'm going to touch up this yellow here. We're going to detail out the interior satin white. Like I talked about, we might shorten this windshield. And then I'm probably going to make a little roll bar in the back. We also might need to notch this out for our new axle. But otherwise, that's going to do it for the body. We're going to probably have to make, definitely going to have to make a custom rear axle. For the chassis, I'm just got to clean that up, detail it. And then once we get the whole thing put together, we're going to make some custom front wishbones and possibly like some type of ladder bar or something for the back. Front axle will be ready to go as is. Like I talked about, the engine this needs a little bit more work and then some detailing. Our grill, that's basically ready to go once we get it fitted, and then I'll just have to detail that out. And then I made this a long time ago for another project. I don't know if we can kind of see it right here. It's just a piece of aluminum tubing, and then I kind of made some caps on the end of it to kind of look like a spun aluminum, like a moon tank or a fuel tank. And might put that on the front of the car yet. I haven't decided. But that's basically where we're at right now. The thing's working out really good and it's coming along really cool. It's really got the look that I had in my head, and I'm glad everything's going kind of better than planned, because this was kind of a scary casting to tackle. I had really no idea if I was going to be able to turn it into what I had in my head. But once we started cutting away all the kind of silliness on the car, it's coming out really cool. So once we make a little bit more progress on the car, we'll take another look at it. Alright gang, so it's time for the final unveil on my gasser build here. The thing came out looking very kind of Happy Days-ish, which is totally perfect because we're going for kind of a late 50s look on this car. Before we get started here and look at the car, just want to remind everybody, thank you for watching this build off. Hopefully we'll be doing another one in the future. I'd like to thank all the builders for participating and all you guys for watching. All the builders that are in the build off are listed in the description below. But it's Fastback Customs, My Diecast Addiction, Flying Valiant, D's Custom Diecast Restoration, Drew's Custom Diecast, Diecast Outcast, 57 Fordman Deep Junk Garage. So go check all them guys out, all their builds if you haven't already. If you like what you've seen here today, don't forget to subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think. And don't forget, in like a day or two, I'll be doing another video kind of posting the results of the build off and picking my favorite car of the build off. And that builder is going to get a super sweet care package sent to them, courtesy of Hansen Speed Shop. So let's take a look at my car here now. Again, the idea for this was to build a custom 1/64 scale gasser, period correct, either 50s, 60s, or 70s style on a budget of $5 or less. So I started with a thrift store Hot Wheels tea bucket that I got for 25 cents. And then we used the radiator off of a 32 Ford that was also a 25-cent thrift store find. The engine on the car is out of a 64 Nova wagon gasser that I paid 94 cents for. And we used another 94-cent car for our wheels. And then I used about 4 different bottles of cheapo Walmart 50-cent craft paint. And then I used maybe, I'll estimate, about 50 cents worth of aluminum tubing, bringing our total right up to just under $5. So basically what I did on this car is cut pretty much everything from the Firewall forward off of the original T-bucket, shorten the base, and then cut the frame rails to look more like stock frame rails. We took the engine out of that Nova wagon gasser and then obviously detailed it out with some red paint. The grill, like I talked about, was sourced out of a 32 Ford. I cut the windshield down. Basically everything, I just drew kind of a line below the rear view mirror, and then everything above that got cut off. And then I detailed the window frame out matching body color. To match this body color, I used this lemon yellow, and it looks pretty decent, I guess. We did the Firewall out in a kind of a gloss or satin white. Detailed out the interior in a satin black. Gave this thing kind of a nice mild gasser stance. Again, this was kind of a late 50s style car, so nothing super radical. I custom made some wishbones for the car, and I did that by taking some aluminum tubing like this, cut it to the length that I wanted, and then I used a hammer and kind of flattened out the front part of it, leaving the back still kind of round, and then I just notched it for the front axle. And then I made a little teeny moon tank up front. Had to make a custom rear axle for the car. Here's a look at the interior. Underneath, just detailed out. Couldn't, again, go super crazy with detailing and painting. Again, trying to keep everything on a budget, but I'm really happy with the look of this car. I think it looks super cool. Again, like I talked about, it kind of looks kind of Happy Days-ish, which wasn't really but my idea to do it, just kind of turned out that way, leaving this factory Hot Wheels paint job on here. But again, a super cool car. I was debating about doing a roll bar on it, but I started kind of mocking that up and it looked kind of goofy. I think the car just looked better without it. So again, thank you everybody for watching the Hansen Speed Shop Budget Gasser Build Off. Go check out all the other builders. Comment below. Let me know what you think of my car. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stick around for some more pictures of the car. Don't forget to go check out everyone else's build. And then in another day or so, I'll be posting that results video where one of you builders is going to get hooked up. Pretty cool. Otherwise, until next time, get out, work on your own projects, get your hands dirty, stay cool, and we'll catch you cats on the next one. Thanks for watching.